All right, traders, finally something different. So those who have been trading the market for years, today is not surprising in the slightest. For those who have not been trading for years, everybody's looking around and saying, what happened? What's the news? Why is this happening? This is the way that these bull moves end. If you've been watching these videos consistently, I was talking about it all back here. The only thing that has surprised me is it took this long to happen. So my timing was not on point. As I was saying, that whole time, I don't know when it's going to happen, but when it happens really fast, we drop really hard, and that's the reset button. And with the analogy yesterday, it's everybody getting on one side of the boat, and the boat just flipped over. So now we have the bears taking over. And again, the last tippity top, how great was that signal? 2 days ago, talking about, the woman I haven't talked to in 15 years, and then getting more and more and more, everybody having a story with this just random people talking about finally getting into Apple on the reverse split or whatever it was as toppy as you can get. And so the scales tilt. You have a scenario where there are no more buyers left and there are only sellers. And when that switches from buying pressure outweighing selling demand, or buying demand outweighing selling pressure, which is what's been happening for a month, it finally flipped today on huge volume. The pattern, if you just went bearish, if you just said to yourself, keep it simple, I will go bearish and put my stop above the all-time high when the pattern of a higher low every single day breaks. Obviously, that's a great signal. And I use that pattern a lot on day trading. If we have a pattern of a higher low every 5-minute candle for an hour, then I look to short that pattern breaking and I put my stop above that high. So I looked out with my hedge, and I don't want you to think that I nailed my bearish QQQ short yesterday, because 2 days ago I did make the same attempt to enter a hedge position, small, short, and I stopped out with a small loss. And then yesterday, obviously, it went very well. So just to touch on that hedge a little bit, because hedging is new to me. I'm a day trader and I never have long positions to hedge. Because of the COVID dump, I now have long positions. And so essentially by choosing QQQ and anticipating that the financial sector would hold up better, QQQ closed down 5%, financial sector down 1.5%. So SPY only closed down 3.4%. So it's essentially like today, it's like my long position went up 1.5%. That's essentially how they offset each other. My hedge went up more than my long positions went down. So that's exactly what I want to do with the way I am at in my career and on the year. I am just looking to continue my base hits and just continue a green day every day. My goal is to have more money than yesterday, and that goal was accomplished today. On this kind of day, aggressive traders look to have, a month maker, or look to potentially make their year if they're going really aggressive. So hopefully some of you nailed it. But again, that's not where I'm at. I'm just looking for a couple day makers. Today ended up being a 2 or 3 day maker. I didn't do a whole lot of trading. I've been doing a bunch of other stuff, and I was supposed to be on the road by now, but it's the last hottest day of the year, and Sweetie Pants doesn't like walking in the heat, so we're going to do some evening strolls. And that allowed for me to just watch. I was just patiently watching, and I wasn't looking to buy any dips. I love oversold bounces, and I was not buying dips today because today is day one. We've seen months of all bull. I'm not going to be buying dips on day one. I don't care what the RSI levels are. So if we gap down open tomorrow, then I would consider looking at buying some of those dips. But you got to give the bears their chance, to give them their lap. This is, they've waited for it and they earned it today. So you don't want to jump in too soon. Now you have to determine your game plans, and hopefully you already have some game plans laid out. Are you looking to be aggressive bulls and buying daily higher lows? Keeping in mind for SPY, we're in a daily uptrend. Anything above 335.22 is a daily higher low. Are you looking to buy aggressively for the daily uptrend to remain intact? Are you looking to be more patient and wait for weekly consolidation to look to make an entry? Are you looking to be an aggressive bear and enter on an hourly lower high bearish? Are you looking to be a patient bear and waiting for a daily lower high bearish? Those are just 4 scenarios, very simple, right there laid out. And aggressive or conservative and direction are the 2 things that you need to determine when establishing your game plan. So for me personally, I did exit half of my hedge on QQQ this afternoon because the hourly RSI was in the teens. So I exited that in the 288s. Still have half that position. May add that half that I sold back on an hourly lower high. Hourly RSI on QQQ is cooling off a decent bit here with this end of the day bounce. Has some shorts covered. But again, if we get too extreme and we gap down tomorrow, I will be interested in looking to do a bit of dip buying. Tesla was a good dip buyer today, and it was just because it was a very clear support level. We had a double bottom off the low of yesterday first thing, and it's just a bottom fisher's dream. You hold that low of yesterday by 12 cents, and you rock it up $30, which is, I guess, $25. So 6% bounce, a triple bottom, we held it again, and we go up 3%. A quadruple bottom, we held it again, and we go up 2%. And then we broke it at the end of the day with no bear follow through. If you were watching this trading, a massive amount of shares traded hands between 402 and 410. And there's a lot of bull defense down at that area. A lot of other stocks would have just rolled over and dumped into the upper 380s. But there was a lot of bid support and a lot of bots. You could just see a ton of one share orders firing in both directions. And that's the bots battling each other because they don't want to allow, and you see it in crypto when things get crazy, but they don't want to allow the bids, the bots on the bid or the ask to walk it up or down. So they're just constantly firing off thousands of one share orders to just try and keep it steady. Because if they keep hitting this level, they can't climb up. So it was that's my soap opera TV. I could watch that all day. Very fun to watch that battle going on. I played it a little bit in both directions, but again, I was mostly passive today and just ended up with a solid green day. And again, nothing special. If you saw the percent that my account went up, it would be like a solid day from last week. Nothing really different there. And that's just the way that I like it. So, SPY, we know that we're looking for an hourly lower high, any bounce. And again, that bounce is happening at the end of the day into the close. We are cooling off hourly RSI. There is nothing saying we cannot see further downside from here. So whatever direction and aggressive or conservative you choose, you must use stop levels because I guarantee bulls did not have stop levels in today trying to play this bounce, and they got burned in a big way because of it. So we're watching for an hourly lower high. The lows of today will, of course, be key support first thing tomorrow. And even if those lows break, we can break SPY's low of today, 342, drop down 2%, and still look to hold a daily higher low. IWM failed to break weekly resistance. We were on the verge of confirming that weekly bull flag, and we dropped down and broke support. And the weekly time frame, still no major red flags, but it's just a rejected bull flag attempt. And now for the bulls to keep control, they want to maintain the 12-period exponential support ideally. QQQ, hourly oversold bounce into the end of the day. Again, the hourly RSI, which was down in the teens, has very quickly cooled off significantly now. We're just looking for an hourly lower high, and the low of today will be key support, and I would call anything above 274 a daily higher low. That gives us $13 of wiggle room. We can drop 4% tomorrow and still be in a daily uptrend. Keep in mind that we will, because of the size of this drop, we will anticipate a daily lower high will be the most likely scenario the next time we bounce. And there will be bears that are looking to reload another chance on that bounce. Healthcare sector, all over the place as far as our rising wedge goes. So saved the rising wedge from a bear break, broke it bullish, and now breaking it bearish. So I'm no longer watching that rising wedge. It's all over the map. But I'm looking at, we did break one daily support level, 105.68 and 105.77. Two other levels to be watching. And the weekly time frame, again, getting a little bit toppy up at these levels. Financial sector. Started the day really strong. It started the day like any other day with tech sector weakness, but financial sector was breaking out really strong to start the day. And look at the first 15, 20 minutes. All bulls, key daily break, and then to give it all back and hit a new low of the day without a 5-minute higher low, big red flag. Because as soon as that happened, we have the scenario where all of our sectors are at the low of the day at the same time. And again, when is the last time that's happened? It's been weeks. So there have been times in the past month where that has happened without obviously the kind of day like today, but it's a very good signal to be watching for, and it certainly followed through today. So the financial sector saw a daily higher high, straight into a dump. The key support is 24.85. It is still a daily uptrend here as well, but we have to hold that 24.85 level. Biotech sector, so the bulls were starting to work on their bounce attempt. In the end, bad timing as the market dumped. Just a daily lower high at 112.35 and another lower low. And today is the most convincing bear follow through that we've seen just because we've closed near the low of the day. and the other previous bear break saw pretty much no follow through. So we're in an area with a lack of support now. I'm looking down at 104.07 as the next major level, and it's a very clear downtrend to have as our guide from here. Semiconductors, all-time highs, big pullback here, daily support 171.84, and we held that level, so technically still a daily uptrend here. The volume obviously stands out on a lot of these sectors and a lot of these individual names. Apple down 8%, NVDA 9%, OSTK, our high flyer names, 10%, Tesla 9%. So a lot of blood out there, and unfortunately a lot of new traders and investors getting a very quick lesson in how this game works. So we'll see if the SMH bulls can save the daily uptrend. If not, we zoom out and look for weekly consolidation. We've seen a pattern of a higher low every week for the last 7 weeks, and we're watching for the potential of that to change. The VIX getting follow through. So the bulls were revving their engines, and today was the moneymaker day. So now we're looking up. The high of today, 35.90, 37.10, 44.40. Hourly uptrend is our guide. And the dollar gave us the clues. So again, I cannot stress enough the observation of the dollar and the importance here. I am very surprised. I said in the video yesterday, I was surprised yesterday that stocks were holding up and not pulling back on this dollar bounce, because we've been noticing the inverse correlation between the dollar and all assets over the last pretty much all of 2020. And this has just been a domino effect in the sense that we saw the dollar start its bounce. First reaction was in metals, and they pulled back. Not a huge pullback, but they pulled back. Second reaction, about 12 hours after the notable dollar bounce started, was crypto. Crypto dumped. And then today, about 36 hours after the dollar bounce really started going, stocks dumped. So what was the reason I hedged and shorted QQQ yesterday? There's a lot of little reasons. Obviously, things being so overextended, wanting to protect my profits, but the dollar having bounced and watching the other higher risk assets selling off first was definitely a factor in that decision as well. So we got to be watching out for clues. And now the big question is, can the dollar change the daily trend and start its weekly oversold bounce? And this bounce has not even really gotten going yet. So if this is going to be a weekly oversold bounce, we're going to expect another 1% plus of follow through from here. Could that put more downward pressure on things? Yes. As we see, again, if we just go back and look at the macro of 2020, this is a race to safety out of assets into the dollar during the COVID fear dump. This is a slow race, and then the race picks up steam out of safety into assets as everything just went up. As Dave Portnoy would say, stocks only go up. That's showing it here in the dollar. And now we're seeing some flight back out of assets again. How long will that flight last? We don't know. We have to take it one day at a time and observe our clues. Today was definitely massive bear volume. What will be the most notable for me is not how much we pull back on this drop, but once this drop bottoms, can the bears confirm a downtrend? That means a lot to me, because this drop, again, it's not surprising that this is the way that we pulled back, and it creates a flush of stop losses, an initial flush of fear, and if the bulls, set that low and then slowly recover, that fear diminishes. But if you see this drop and we bounce and say, oh, okay, bulls breathe a sigh of relief, it's over for now, and then you go down again to a new low, that fear just magnifies. So that is now the most important factor for me. Not where is the bottom of this dump going to be, but can a lower high and lower low be the result once the bounce gets going? Where are we now? Gold, equilibrium still in play, looking like if we didn't break it today, looking like next week is going to be the determining factor. It's all about 1900. If you think if you think gold's going to break bullish, you're making a bottom fishing play off of 1900 support. If you're being patient, you're waiting for this break. It's a beautiful equilibrium. Silver heading down towards support, $26 coming into play. Again, there's a potential play off of that support. 4-hour RSI is getting oversold. And the miners still in their tightening range as well, trying to set a daily high or low, almost a double bottom with the low of yesterday. Most important resistance, 43.13 on GDX. Oil bounce underway. We got great follow through for the bears on that rising wedge bear break. But we're just looking for a 4-hour lower high here. The bears are going to be hoping that it's an inverse head and shoulders. We have resistance at 41.79. If we fail to break that level, the bulls will look to pull back, form a 4-hour higher low, and then try and change that trend. From there, we will just anticipate a daily lower high is the most likely scenario on this bounce. And again, same thing with SPY. Can the bears confirm the daily downtrend? If they can't, if it's just a short, again, it's like getting punched in the face. That's the analogy that I've used a couple times. Today, the bears punched the bulls in the face. They sucker punched them out of nowhere, nailed them. Bulls didn't see it coming, except for the bulls that have been in the ring for a couple decades. Now, the bulls have regained their senses and they're ready to go. And can the bear win now that the bulls are ready to go? They got their sucker punch in. That's the easy part. Now that the bears have their full attention on, now that the bulls have their full attention on the bears, can the bears follow through? Natural gas. Still just fine. Weekly consolidation underway, potential weekly bull flag, daily inside bar. If we bounce and can't break the high of 264, we'll be looking at that as a lower high. Same thing, we lost the uptrend. Are we in a daily downtrend? I would say no. I would need to see a clear lower high and lower low to say now we're in a daily downtrend. So we're in a bit of that ambiguous range where yes, we have clearly lost the higher lows, but we have not confirmed a downtrend yet. So hope it all went well out there. Lots of lessons, lots of winners, lots of losers. And tomorrow's shaping up to be very exciting as well. Lows of today will be very important support first thing tomorrow. Hold those lows and they give the bulls confidence. We have a support level to play off of. We can put our stop below that level. We can take on some risk and be a bit more comfortable because that stop level is nearby. Break that level and it's back to free fall a bit, and we'll be viewing our sectors the same way as we always have. Do we see all of our sectors dropping to the low of the day at the same time, or do we not see that taking place? If we don't see that taking place, it's a point in favor of the bulls. If we do, then the bears still have full momentum. I hope you're all well. We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your day.